wanted to do an update on the last video where I covered that 60 symbols presentation about the greenhouse effect, where they basically, well, not basically, but very obviously and directly debunk themselves without having any clue. I mean, I wasn't that hostile in that video, really. I just sort of pointed out it wasn't that hostile. Really wasn't hostile at all. I just pointed out what they had did and how kind of silly it was. So anyway, I forwarded it to that Michael Merrifield guy. So let's look at his responses. So look, here's his first response. So I said, for you, Mike, and here's the thing. So his first response is not even wrong. So Michael Merrifield from Nottingham University says that my video isn't even wrong. So where did I end in the video? What was the conclusion at the end of that video? How did I put it all together? I made this comparison, right? So this is what Mike does, and this is what climate science does, and this is right. So for him, this is right. The flat Earth is right. And, all these numbers working out to sunshine being minus 18 degrees Celsius. Sunshine is too cold to create the climate. That's all right to him. Sunshine is always freezing cold. Sunshine is never warm. Sunshine can't create cumulonimbus clouds, can't create the climate, all that sort of stuff. So that's right to him. And for me, this to him, he says, isn't even wrong. So I'm presenting Earth, that's a sphere, with sunlight falling over only one side of the sphere, which is daylight. You can see that given these curves, the shape of them, obviously the Earth should be assumed to be rotating, because why wouldn't you do that? They have a flat Earth that's not rotating. I mean, maybe it's just too much of them, because sometimes I've shown this to them and get the response. They're like, "You're showing a sphere Earth that isn't rotating." And it's like, you showed a flat Earth, which is impossible for it to have a rotation. I'm trying to go to reality and show you a sphere Earth, as of course I would assume that you would assume, and we would all agree that it's rotating. So yes, it's rotating. We have a rotating sphere with a day side and a night side. You have sunshine coming in at its actual value, plus 121 degrees Celsius. This is what actually exists. If you were out in space, this is what you would see. You would see half the Earth lit up. You would see the most intense sunlight around the equator. You would see that there was a night side. This is what you would see, but he says that's not even wrong. So to Mike Merrifield, that is not even wrong. Okay, sure, Mike. Let's look at his one other response we're able to get from him. He says, there's really nothing to be gained by engaging with someone whose understanding of the topic is so non-existent that he thinks he is making a point by complaining that I illustrated energy balance using a cartoon with planar geometry. Well, I mean, he obviously just isn't engaging, isn't even comprehending what I said. Yes, the problem is with planar geometry, and I explain what is wrong with planar geometry. That's the whole point. And the point isn't that it's a cartoon. Look, my diagram is a cartoon. I don't have a problem with it being a cartoon, like he's trying to make fun of me. Oh, you don't understand that it's a cartoon? Of course I get that it's a cartoon. Retards. God, fucking idiot. My diagram is a cartoon too. And here, I'm going to show you something. This is what we do in physics. Okay. We do cartoon diagrams in physics all the time. Where's a pencil? Is that pencil? Let's do some Newtonian physics here. So look, here's a block. Look, it's a cartoon square, not even well drawn, right? And here's one force. Let's call that F1. And now look, here's another force. Let's call that F2. And guess what we do to demonstrate Newton's laws with these really poorly drawn cartoons? We do this. We say the integral of all forces equals mass times acceleration. And then what do? We explain that. You add up all the forces, and if there's an unbalanced force, so let's call that F-un for unbalanced, F unbalanced force equals mass times acceleration, right? So that's how we teach Newton's laws and how to start working with Newton's laws. And this is basically what SpaceX does to launch rockets. You can actually launch rockets by doing this, by drawing a square cartoon for your rocket and summing up the forces, and of course, use a differential for force unbalanced. It's, the rate of change of momentum with time. And then of course, that's acceleration is dv dt. So you make it a differential, of course, mass changes with time. So you have dm dt. That's fine, but you start here. and you can launch rockets into space to plus or minus 10 meters in altitude, precision, very, very precisely, just with that equation. And you know what we don't do after showing how these unbalanced forces produce acceleration? You know one thing that we don't do afterwards? What we don't do is say, oh, but you know what? It's not actually unbalanced forces which cause the acceleration. Yeah, it's not actually this math that does it. Actually, experiments show that if you remove the forces completely, the object still accelerates. And that's what Mike did in his video, right? Because he showed all these arrows with the photons and whatnot, with the back radiation, right? He showed all these arrows with the back radiation. I should have that pulled up. Anyway, just remember where that was in the video, right? He had that plane here, actually. Right here, he had the equivalent of this, right? Showing the arrows that are back radiation. These are supposed to be things that do things. And then what did he say? He said, actually, if you make that layer transparent so that all these arrows and forces are taken away, it doesn't make a difference. It still warms up. I mean, that's the equivalent of saying you take away all these forces and the object still accelerates for a different reason. So it's not actually the same thing. So obviously he must be pretty embarrassed, or it's the cognitive dissonance. And obviously, my whole reasoning, just like look at the ignorance of these responses. Look at how ignorant that is. Not even wrong. What's not wrong? That the earth is, it's not even wrong. It's not even the sphere of being right or wrong. The sphere, there's a pun. It's not even in the context, in the reality of being right or wrong. That the earth is a sphere. I mean, that doesn't even apply to the principles of right or wrong. It's not even about that the earth is a sphere and that sunshine is hot and creates a climate. It's not even in the context, doesn't even exist in the context of right or wrong. Oh, but his flat earth with cold sunshine, that can't create the climate. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Eh, Mike? Yeah? God. Idiots. And then, and then his other one, thinks he's making a point, but complaining that I illustrated energy balance cartoons or energy balance using a cartoon with planar geometry. No, I use a cartoon too. Everyone uses cartoons. Free body diagrams are done with cartoons. Not a big deal. What you did is you said that it should work according to the physics and the back radiation, the arrows and the forces, and then you said that it doesn't. You actually proved and said that admitted that it doesn't actually work that way. That if you take away, so imagine that in physics class. If you explain why a rocket accelerates, and then you say, well, you know what? The thing about that is, the thing about that is if you take away all those forces and you don't light the rocket engine, it actually still accelerates. You fucking pieces of shit. Fuck you, Mike Merrifield, you fucking piece of shit. How much of a fucking piece, you know what? And that's what I conclude about my, in my Planet Wars book. Where is that? Do I have that up? Come on. Last slide. So go get that Planet Wars book. You know what? These people they're not real people. That's simply not a response that a real human would do. I mean, is that the psychology of humans, that they can be so ground down so deeply into their cognitive dissonance and their need to defend cognitive dissonance and their need to identify their identity as someone who professes cognitive dissonance, not that they understand or admit that they do, as their identity, as what makes them smart, what makes them distinct? Or are they just not real people? I'm pretty sure that they're not real people, just because of how coordinated across time and space it seems to be, and from other indications, and just because it's so ridiculous. Yeah, Mike Merrifield, you're not actually a real human. You're a frickin' some sort of robot idiot, some sort of robot moron in a flesh suit, and you look like an idiot too. Where's that? Yeah, here. Look at him. He's like that meme, that bearded meme guy, right? That I fucking love science, bearded meme idiot with his mouth wide open, right? Like he looks exactly like that. You're just a moron, Mike. Honestly, God, you deserve to be mocked. Like, look at these, and this is what we've dealt with forever. Responses like this, not even wrong, and then trying to make fun of me that it's about cartoons or something, like, it just gets worse from there. They're always ridiculing. Like, here I am. I'm like, would you guys please, and I wrote that very nice paper, which is in my Planet Wars book, and I'm like, would you please just maybe consider that the Earth is round and sunshine is hot, and maybe that's a better way than doing it. We come so meekly to them, right? To ask them, maybe not having the flat earth, cold sunshine is the right way. And then they're like, no, fuck you. It's the right way. What a stupid question. Why don't you try submitting that in peer review? Okay, here, I'll submit it in peer review. And then peer review is like, there's no evidence that the earth is round. And then it makes a difference, right? So these people, you might think that it's not nice for me to be swearing and telling Mike off. These people fucking deserve to be ridiculed to the end of the earth. They're fucking planning to destroy all life on Earth. They're vilifying carbon dioxide. They're coming up with fucking schemes to remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and blot out the goddamn sun. They're theorizing putting systems in space, solar sails in space at a Lagrange point where you can't even get back to them once they're in place. And they're going to expand and then block out the sun from Lagrange point. You can't even get back to it once it's there because it takes so much. Then, who's going to pay for it? It's too expensive to go blow it up and move it out of the way. It's just there now. It's just there now, making the earth freezing cold, killing all life on Earth, putting us in a permanent ice age. Oh no, we're going to block Musk from sending a nuke up there and blow it away because, they would pollute space, like whatever fucking stupid reason. Then meanwhile, they're removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere with genetically engineered bacteria, pumping it into ground, all this bullshit. These people are fucking scheming to end all life on Earth. That's what they're doing. They're some sort of robot, retard, alien idiots or something, whatever they are. They're scheming. Guys, they want to remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. They hate humanity. They hate reason. They hate just having a simple frickin' discussion, right? Stop being nice to these people. And they're like, oh, you're not being nice. These people are the biggest dickheads. Anyone who's ever spent any time with these people online, you instantly discover that they're the biggest fucking dickheads you'll ever meet. People come to me all the time, and people come to me challenging me sometimes. And I'm just like, oh, okay, well, I'll answer it nicely. That's not what you get from these people. You get hostile ignorance. There's a reason for that. The reason is because they're enemies of fucking humanity, and they want to destroy us all, and they want to destroy the planet. These people deserve to be mocked. Michael Merrifield deserves to have his stupid little flat earth diagram, that's a cartoon, stuck in his face and laughed at forever for being a flat earth theorist that is concluding that he should remove and support removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere because it's a pollutant, because life hates carbon dioxide. Guys, get over being nice. Get over having a civil discussion. The time for a civil discussion with them is over. They don't want to have it. They just want power. What do they want power for? They want the power to destroy Earth. That's what they want. These fucking pieces of shit. Mike, you frickin' idiot. Not even wrong. Oh yeah, not even wrong. It's not even in the context of right or wrong that I might say that the Earth is round and that sunshine is hot. Do you not get the brain exploding scale of the fucking idiocy of that? Do you get how retarded that is? And this is an astronomer in physics. An astronomer at a university in a astronomy and physics department. It's mind-blowingly retarded. It can't exist. It's an impossibility, which means that it's on purpose, which means that it has a purpose. And so you just look at where does it lead to? And it leads to them ending all life on Earth. That's it. Understanding so non-existent. Oh yeah. Yeah, so not yeah, yeah, I completely don't understand because it's not even right or wrong that the Earth is a sphere, not a flat plane. Who really doesn't understand things here, Mike? Who really doesn't understand that it makes a difference? Energy balance using complaining that I illustrated energy balance using a cartoon with planar geometry. Yes, exactly. You demonstrated this, and then you said that's not actually how a greenhouse warms up. You just derived the physics, you showed all the arrows, you showed all the forces, and showed you add it all up. You said you add these things all up, and they explain why the greenhouse gets hot inside. And then you said, no, actually, if you take that away, the greenhouse still gets hot inside. That would be equivalent in physics class to doing free body diagrams with forces and showing, look, you sum up the forces, and if you get an unbalanced force, you have acceleration. The mass is constant of the body, and the force, the body will then accelerate. And then afterwards, you'd be like, yeah, but you know what? You take away all the forces, and the body still accelerates. And then someone points out you just contradicted yourself. He's like, you're not even God. These people, honestly, right? Can you believe it? Can you believe that's the world? That's the world of academia and physics now. What happened? Well, it's explained in the Planet Wars book. That's what happened. That's what happened. Go pick it up. Go read it. Go read my other books. They're all there if you find my author page on Amazon. It'll link to my other ones. You can read the whole sequence of events of how I came to this conclusion, over the last 12 years of looking into this. It's quite fascinating. And then, of course, my final two books just sort of trying to point us in a direction of where to go from here and just create a better world. But obviously it's a problem because for now these people are still here, and their goal is to end all life on Earth. So let's see what happens with that. Hopefully they don't succeed. Okay. Anyway, hope you had fun with that. Talk to you later. Bye bye. Bye bye.